I will unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves.
Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I would love to say that I was here today to create some fun, positive content for you that'll lift you up on a Monday morning, but no. I am here to relentlessly shit on Marvel Zombies and its insane shipping costs, and to show you many, many examples of bigger, better games that cost, in some cases, like a fraction of what this costs to ship. So let's start at the beginning. Here we've got the estimated shipping cost by hub, doesn't include optional buys. This is from the Kickstarter for Marvel Zombies. It is estimated, obviously, so there's always going to be some give here, but I think you're going to see that some give, in this case, equals doubling the cost of shipping at a time when shipping is actually, at least freight shipping, is the cost is coming down, and there's really kind of no justification for the pricing here. So I could pick this thing apart country by country and just demolish it, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to compare apples to apples. Galactus Pledge, which is not even the all-in pledge, that is just the Zombies core box, the Resistance core box, and the Devourer expansion. So that doesn't even include the many, many expansions that came out with this thing. But it does include the giant Galactus figure with two waves, so that you get your Marvel Zombies stuff first, and then you get your X-Men Resistance stuff later. So on the Kickstarter page, they estimated the price of the shipping in the United States to most states as $107. Again, it's an estimate. I get it. It can change. But if you look at the pre-order, the backer kit, or whatever the hell it's called, for the exact same pledge, you will see a Galactus Pledge shipping fee $203. So it has, for all intents and purposes, doubled in a few months at a time in which the world is, largely recovering from COVID and the related kind of logistic issues around shipping and such. You can look this stuff up. Freight costs in general are down compared to where they were maybe, say, like a year ago or 2 years ago. So, $207 to ship this thing. And this is with the two-wave shipping, so it's with the fancy shipping. But it's fucking $203. It's more than the cost of the base pledge of the game. And it damn near equals the cost of the double game pledge. So maybe you're saying to yourself, though, okay, so, that Galactus figure is huge. It's obviously going to cost a lot to ship all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I thought what we do is let's compare the shipping cost for the admittedly large Galactus pledge. It's not ginormous. It's not massive. It's, big with the addition of Galactus, but this is not a colossal, this is going to be the biggest box I ever get. I'm going to show you what's going to be the biggest box I ever get, and it dwarfs this goddamn thing by comparison. But I thought that we would just compare some other similar sized campaigns and see where we got with the shipping. So, first of all, we're going to look at Wild Descent, Lavon Rising. I pledged this at I believe at the Lavon Rising level. Yeah, Lavon Rising pledge. I don't have anything for Wild Descent, And so this is essentially giving me 2 Kickstarters worth of content for that game, because it comes with the core game, the stretch goals from the core game, the expansion that came with the core game, the expansion, the stretch goals for the expansion, and the expansion is 2 boxes, by the way, and another box, in addition to these 3 smaller boxes. So this is a shitload of content. They don't list the weight here. The GameFound's a little inconsistent on weights, but I'm going to take a wild swing and say this is at least 20 kilograms, which makes it 40 pounds. I think it's kilograms. If it's not kilograms, feel free to mock me, but I don't really care because I live in the U.S. This is going to be like 40 pounds. Your shipping cost, $53. 1/4 the cost of shipping what I am sure is the similarly sized Galactus pledge from CMON. 1/4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full boxes and 3 mini boxes. And I don't even remember. This might even have 2. Okay, so it's wave 1 shipping. Yeah, I see that there. So, for our first comparison, CMON is not looking so great, because I guarantee you that this is probably not as big dimensionally as the Galactus pledge, but it's going to weigh at least as much. This stuff is going to be just packed full of miniatures and heavy shit that warrants the space it takes up. But that's just one example. Let us move on. Here we're looking at Dungeons and Lasers. This is a campaign for 3D dungeon terrain, and having already gotten most of this, I can tell you it is immense. I think even this might be an underestimation, but let's say that it is, and let's say it's accurate. It's still over 20 pounds. And a lot of this stuff I haven't even actually gotten yet because it wasn't included in the rapid delivery. So I've still got some rooms coming and some stretch goals and such. And I had bought extras. It totals out to around 30 pounds. Shipping costs 42 euros, which is about $44. 30 pounds, $40. Again, what the hell is going on here? I have a suspicion as to what is going on here, but let's continue with the kind of the comparison here. Let's look at Tanaris Adventures. This is the biggest pledge that I have ever created. I can't even imagine a single shipment where you didn't buy multiple copies of stuff to flip or something that could actually be bigger than this. The only thing that would be bigger than this is Shadows of Brimstone, which I forgot to pull up. And the shipping for that was about $70 for Shadows of Brimstone Adventures, and I backed every single thing in that set. So that is going to be orders of magnitudes bigger and heavier than this Marvel Zombies bullshit. And this is as well, because this is essentially 3 full Kickstarters worth of stuff. It's every single thing ever made for Arena the Contest or Tanaris Adventures. So here we've got the RPG All-In and the Super Kit Minis. RPG All-In, that means it has 3 massively heavy, gigantic, hardbacked books in it. And how many? I don't even know how many boxes this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are smaller. 7 boxes full of miniatures and 3 enormous heavy-duty books that are going to weigh 10 pounds by themselves, probably. But that's not all, folks, because we've also got a full pledge with the legendary box plus the Elder Dragon, which itself is a significant sized miniature. So here we've got, this is all like the stretch goal stuff and bonus stuff, extra stuff you could get with the original Kickstarter, I believe. So you've got the legendary box, which holds more than 70 miniatures, and a lot of which is terrain, which is huge. It's like walls to build your own dungeons. So this is going to be heavy in and of itself. The Elder Dragon is gigantic. I don't know the exact scale of it, but I know that it's a big goddamn miniature. It's not as big as that Galactus, but it's big. Very big. Bigger than most miniatures. They even say here, they can barely even be called a miniature. It's got an extra hero pack box. I've got the plastic tokens, all the boards, again, heavy duty stuff, extra dice, blah, blah, blah. But then, going on, we've got the Arena of the Contest core box, the Tanaris Adventures core box, the Painted Madness box, the Painted Dragon collection, 1,000 sleeves, 4 more boards, and a painted green dragon. And you might be saying to yourself, okay, well, surely that must be it. No, it's not, because I've also got the Mystical Pack and another gigantic dragon and another sleeve pack. There's no way that this is going to come in one box. This might well be 3 boxes. It's multi-wave shipping for sure, because the RPG stuff is coming later. And so what we're looking at here is 3 successful Kickstarters worth of content. And then, because this stuff was not part of even the highest level pledges for those campaigns, I added all this on because I wanted every single thing that's ever been made for this game. This is every single thing that's ever been made for 3 Kickstarters worth of games. And the shipping cost, $120. That's a lot. But it's over 60 pounds worth of content. And they did a really cool thing in this campaign where you can see here. They basically, if you backed a previous campaign that hadn't delivered yet, like Tanaris Adventures, which by itself was 27 pounds, then they only added on the additional cost to ship the stuff you got in the RPG pledge. And they were actually like prorating it. So the more you bought, the lower the shipping cost in total. So you ended up with $120 for multi-wave shipping of the essentially one of the biggest Kickstarter packages ever made. And it's still 60, whatever, I don't remember, $80 less than the shipping for this not even complete pledge for Marvel Zombies. Moving on. We've got Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around the shipping for this and the way it was handled. I know that there was some confusion. These guys are relatively creative game studios. They're not 50 Kickstarters in like CMON is, and they were trying to do some very innovative stuff in this campaign where they were trying to create essentially a whole new method of payment to allow people who wanted to get in on it but maybe couldn't during the pandemic. And so they were doing a lot of creative stuff with this, and they had problems and they had screw-ups, and they definitely also kind of estimated shipping. But if you look at the amount of content that I am getting, even just with this all-in Apocalypse bundle, so this isn't everything because I already have the whole first game. You're getting Apocalypse Adventures, which is 2 boxes. You're getting the Backers campaign stretch goals. You're getting a couple of smaller boxes, and then the absolutely gargantuan Apocalypse the Four Horsemen box. Now, you're gonna have to trust me on this. I did the math on the total kind of size of the 4 miniatures in this set, and it is bigger than the Galactus model is. This is 24 inches tall, I believe. This stuff comes out in total to be more like 25 or 26 inches. So apples to apples, pound to pound, this is going to be bigger and heavier because this is just a giant model. It's hollow. It's like a goddamn Easter bunny. You know, you just crack it open. There's nothing inside. This is 4 miniatures, and so they're all going to have their own heavy-duty bases, etc. And I promise you this is bigger and heavier than even the Galactus miniature from that game. Like, there's a scale picture floating around out there. I tried to find it. I can never find it. Of, like, a normal-sized human being standing next to the stuff in this pledge in addition to the stuff from the original game. And the guy is dwarfed. It's like 15 feet tall worth of crap. It's insane. And so if you're talking about apples to apples, this is a perfect comparison, basically. Because you're talking about multiple big boxes full of miniatures and heavy-duty cardboard and all that stuff. And then this gargantuan box that is easily the equal of, if not bigger than, Galactus is from Marvel Zombies. And then you've got some extra stuff that got added on because I was returning Pledger or whatever. Again, they don't show the net weight, but I'm guessing it's probably around 30 pounds at least. $60 to ship. $60! $203 versus $60. And this is as big, if not bigger, and heavier and dimensionally bigger, because this is going to need its own box. It is absolutely gargantuan, the size of this Apocalypse box. So it also is going to ship in its own box, just like this is. This is probably an equivalent, if not more, content in this Chronicles of Drunagor set. So what's going on here? Well, basically what's going on here is CMON saw an opportunity with this campaign, with the license, with this giant figure, which is admittedly hard to estimate the shipping for, but we've seen other games ship with miniatures of the same size, like Cthulhu Death May Die, and I don't remember there being a great outcrying about the shipping costs for that game, which means that it wasn't that bad. It wasn't this. People are up in arms over this shit. And so basically what you have here is CMON trying to squeeze an extra $65, $70, $80, maybe even $100 profit out of people by leveraging the fact that, oh, this miniature is so big, so it's really expensive to ship, and trying to confuse people in that way, and so that they can just charge whatever they want. The Resistance Pledge alone, and I live in Colorado, so I'm not in Alaska, I'm not in Hawaii, I am in the kind of mainland United States. $120 to ship just the goddamn Resistance Pledge, which is 3 boxes. The X-Men Resistance, the Marvel Zombies, and the Stretch Goal box. $120. Whereas shipping this enormous pile of shit from Wild Ascent, which is undoubtedly like double the content of that and double the raw size of it, was $53. And so you can see here, this is just CMON. There is no rationale for this. There's no explanation for it. There's no good logical reason for it. This is CMON trying to leverage FOMO on this Marvel Zombies stuff and screw as many people as they can as possible out of as much money as possible. They basically didn't want to have to price the Resistance Pledge at $350, which is probably what they wanted for it. And so they figured, hey, you know what we'll do? We'll just tack this on as shipping, and nobody will be able to say anything because nobody knows the cost of shipping. But if you compare it to a bunch of other campaigns that are at least as big, if not orders of magnitude bigger, like Drunagor's RPG, it's pretty easy to see that there's no justification for this price. It's a total cash grab. This is not going to USPS or whatever. This is going into CMON's pocket, and then they are paying out of this the $30 that it will actually cost to ship the Resistance Pledge to me. Now, what can we do about this shameless cash grab? Not a whole lot. So if you pledged and you decide, I don't really want to get anally sodomized by CMON today on shipping, so I'm going to cancel my pledge. You're going to get a cancellation fee. I think it's something like 10 or 15%. Another weird thing that they did with this campaign is they put a whole bunch of like addendums and like terms of service and shit in front of even getting to this point in the pledge manager, because they want you to acknowledge the fact that, hey, we're totally fucking you on this shipping. You're agreeing to it. Also, all this shit is gonna break when we ship it, just like Word has X-Men United is doing. It's all gonna break, and maybe we're not responsible for it, and maybe we are, but we want the weasel room. And so this, and even Marvel, even X-Men United, my pledge for that is absolutely gargantuan because I bought multiple copies of it, and it was nowhere near $120 to ship it. I promise you. I could pull it up. I'm lazy. I don't want to. But it was fucking nowhere near $120. And so, in terms of what you can do, you can cancel your pledge. You're going to take a hit. CMON's going to try and say that that's all going back to Kickstarter or that it's all going back to Backer Kit. That's bullshit. The amounts that those people take are kind of well known. King of Average has a really good video I'll link to in the description where he breaks down the kind of estimated cost of a cancellation to CMON. But you're gonna have to pay that penalty, and well, you should, because they call that stuff out on the, right here in the terms and conditions and blah blah blah. I'm sure they call it out somewhere. Let's see here. Yeah. Refund 14 days, campaigns end. We are on policy, no questions asked. That's minus Kickstarter and payment processing fees. Yeah, except that this doesn't add up to like 10% or whatever. So, if you cancel, you are breaking the contract that you made with CMON when you pledged this, and so there should be a penalty to that. But it is a little galling when the penalty is driven by the absurdly overestimated cost of shipping. It really is kind of like a Venus flytrap of Kickstarter bullshit, because it just seems like CMON has learned that, there's only so much we can do with the pricing of the content, because if they had launched this thing at $300, they wouldn't have gotten 9 million. I'm amazed it did as well as it did, given the ridiculous cost of the Resistance Pledge alone, which should have been 2 separate Kickstarters, basically. They should have just run the Marvel Zombies and then a year later given us X-Men United. I would have been perfectly happy with that. You would have gotten more stretch goals. Combining these does not help you. It helps CMON because they only have to give you half as many stretch goals. And if they had priced this thing the way that they obviously wanted to, nobody would have backed it, or a much smaller subset of people would have backed it. So what they decided was, we can't completely gouge them on the upfront costs. So what we'll do is we'll get them to pledge, which means that they're trapped, and then we will gouge them on the shipping. We'll just make it up. We'll just, whatever we want the shipping costs to be in terms of offsetting our development costs on whatever shit ass game they still haven't fucking delivered, whether it be, what is that piece of shit with the bag building? Oh man, what is the name of that game? I can't remember the name of it. They're like 6 games behind. They're breaking all of Kickstarter's basic rules about how many projects you can be behind and even still launch a project, but nobody cares because they're making a ton of money. And so they're just saying, oh man, we really took a bath on all those Marvel United X-Men replacements we had to do, so let's just tack $60 onto the shipping for this piece of shit and we'll make it all back. And it's just so transparent. It's so stupid. You've seen here, I've compared numerous equally, if not much, much larger games in terms of the shipping costs, and they are coming nowhere near the cost of this absurd abomination of a game, which I am still excited about. Which brings us to our second point. What can you do about this? So you might be out of luck if you pledged high on this to begin with. I did not. I pledged $1. And that was mostly just so I could get access to the comments and get fodder for shitting on CMON on YouTube because of the recycled nature of all this, which is the exact same goddamn fucking game you've bought 10 fucking times already. Now with Marvel, which is cool, but it'd be cooler if it were a different goddamn game. But what I did was I backed this through a local retailer, and really, I cannot recommend this enough. Go to your local board game store and just ask them. Ping them on, if you're shy, ping them on Facebook, in Messenger. Every board game store in the country, in the world, I assume, has some form of social media where you can contact them and just say, hey, I'm interested in this game. I'd love to buy it from you. Would you be interested in backing it? Because I'm not paying any of this. I'm not paying this. Whatever. I'm not paying $217. I'm not paying $120. I'm not paying any of this fucking extortion bullshit shipping because I backed it through my local retailer. I'm paying nothing for shipping. So that's another thing that you can do is find a store nearby that will back this stuff for you and start backing it through them instead. For the most part, that's what I do now. And if my local stores aren't backing something, I just ping them and I just say, hey, can you back this? I'd like to purchase it. Or this looks interesting. Are you guys planning on backing it? Because you bypass all of that bullshit, and on average, you're always saving like at least $30 or $40. Because my stores, at least, because the store is not paying what we're paying for it. They're not paying $410 for the Galactus pledge. They're probably paying more like $200 for it. So when they sell it at the pledge price, which is perfectly fair, incredibly fair, if they're not marking it up, they're still making a huge profit. So you're helping your local store. You're kind of sticking a finger up CMON's ass a little bit in terms of not getting extorted, and you're just helping everyone. It's better for everyone if you back. You're helping, the store, yourself, and you're screwing over CMON, who absolutely deserves to be screwed over. Because these stores are taking 40-box shipments every day that weigh, 100 times as much as this pledge. So they don't care. It's not any more cost to them. They are working on a scale that negates the cost of CMON's extortive shipping. And CMON's not going to pull this shit with a store either, because then the store will just go, oh, okay, fuck you. We exclusively carry, Wild Ascent now. And fuck CMON. So if you want to get a refund, you can, as I understand it, but you're going to take a little hit. That's the price of doing business with these bastards. But in the future, seriously consider searching out a local store that'll back this stuff for you. And that's basically my take on this. My take is that this is goddamn near extortion for this, what is going to be a very cool, don't get me wrong, who doesn't want to play around in the X Mansion in a board game, with high production value? CMON doesn't make cheap stuff. This is going to be fucking dope. But there's no way that it justifies the cost that CMON is presenting, either really in the original pledge amounts. Even $130 is $30 more than pledging the previous Kickstarter for Zombicide, basically. And it certainly does not justify the cost of the insane extortive shipping that they're trying to charge on this, particularly after they were stupid enough to estimate this and to estimate it at the cost that it should actually be. I think you could make a case for the Galactus pledge in 2 waves actually costing $107 to ship. There is no case to be made for it costing $200 to ship. And even $107 is extreme and over the line. Again, look at all these enormous games. Look at Tanar's RPG, which is going to be the biggest shipment I've ever received until my Shadows of Brimstone Adventures campaign shows up, because I spent $1,500 in that pledge manager, so that's going to fill this room. And it still wasn't anywhere near this much. It was $70 to ship. I remember it clearly because I thought to myself, wow, that's a lot for shipping. Boy, what did I was I wrong? And so do what you can to mitigate the damage from this. The best thing you can do, though, is start backing this stuff from your local store if you have to have it. And if you don't have to have it, then don't fucking back it. And drive CMON into obscurity by crashing their next 3 or 4 campaigns. Because, these guys don't have... I don't imagine that CMON has a $100 million war chest that they're working out of with as many campaigns as they have running and as far behind as they are, and the cost of production for this stuff constantly going up. Not to this extent, but it is always going up. They're skating by, to some extent at least, campaign to campaign. And so 3 or 4, a bad year for them on Kickstarter could damn well be a death blow to CMON. And they fucking deserve to get got, because this is bullshit. So let me know what you think. Maybe I'm going too far. I don't think I am, but going too far is kind of what I do, so it's entirely possible. And that's all I have for today. I will talk to you later.